going on, guys? Kaiger here. In yesterday's video, I gave you a quick start guide to the Kingdom of Rahil. Now, I'm going to start buckling down and tell you some things that you should keep an eye on. Let's get into it. Alright guys, today I got 10 things I want you to keep in mind that the game kind of tells you, but doesn't really go into fine detail. First is going to be Rahil orders. You unlock this towards the beginning of Section 2. So Rahil Kingdom Story, Act 2, towards the beginning of it, you will unlock repeat quests. Repeat quests are, you use these Rahil orders up here. And you get 20 a day, and then you can recharge additional. I like to do at least one recharge as a lower spender. If you're doing the stock market, then you can do 2. If you're a big spender, go ahead and do 3. This is one of the best ways to do it. We will have more in Kontana coming soon to the NA servers. For you on global, you still are going to have access to these 5 areas. The different ones will have different level requirements. The one we're going to be talking about is Rokumunga, which is the fire area. You want to be using these every single day. I suggest doing about 22 burning energy quests. They cost 1 Rahil per go, and it says 5, but it's 4 to 6. So if you have an average of 5 every time, 100 is what you need, so 20 should be fine, but it generally, for me, takes 21 or 22 tries. Then you will use the rest of them on calming the disturbance. And that's because it'll give you Path of Growth tickets, which I'll get into that in a minute, as well as Unknown Scrolls and Breath of Life, which are invaluable resources for increasing your monsters. May you be free to play, low spender, or whale. Next I want to talk about your mana and weaving skills. So if you take a look on the right, I have 3 monsters. They each have 2 abilities. One is bigger than the others on the bottom. That is my current soul linked monster. You'll see a number in the top left of each of their skills. That is the mana it will cost. Mana being under my life bar straight above it, maxes out at 10, but when you start, it's going to start at 8. You will have to rank those up in your skill section. But once you're at this point, then you want to try to get the best out of your abilities. So in the current team setup right here, I have 2 supports and a damage dealer. This was for a specific thing, but that's not here or there. So if we look at the one I currently have equipped, Wusa, I'm primarily going to be wanting to use my second ability, as it puts a shield and immunity on my entire team. Now, something that you can keep track of is put him on Soul Link so you can control when that happens, but also if you're trying to spike some DPS meters, you can do things like my second unit, Narin Ha, her second skill that costs 3 mana does a chunk of damage. So what I can do is keep using Wusa, and then I can keep an eye on my 2 other monsters' abilities. And when Narin Ha uses that burst skill, it goes on cooldown, takes a while for her to use it. But if I want to burst something down, I can swap it immediately to her, and it will be off cooldown for me to use as I see fit. Spammable skills are a good thing to do this with. Next, let's get into Tower of Ascension. So over here we have Tower of Ascension and Spires of Ascension. Tower of Ascension, every 10 floors you get secret room down here. In this last update, when global launched, now you can stack these. So after your full 200 normal and full 200 hard, you will have 40 attempts to go in. Do the highest one you're able to do to get the most rewards. What I really wanted to talk to you about was these treasure rooms to the right. Now, how you unlock these is by doing the go here. So each one that's directly across, so this is floor 200 treasure room, it will unlock them by doing hidden quests. It'll pop up on the bottom left of it when you go in, and it tells you what needs to be completed so that you can unlock the treasure room, which is going to give you a bunch of stuff. Treasures, not just gold, breath of life's, XP, potions, things like that. Next, let's get into raids. So if we take a look over here on global, you only have the 2 low-level ones and Foggy Prison. Every 2 weeks, they're going to be adding another one so that you will have our current 4 major elite raids. But something you want to keep track of is the elite raids give you 3 runs a week. That doesn't really give you a lot to go off of, especially when you're trying to get stuff from the shop, right? So what happens is you do your 3 a week, and then you can recharge with tickets. That's perfectly fine to use. Crystals, which cost quite a bit. You have to be a pretty blubbery whale to do 750 crystals for that. But what you can do is battle support once a day to get crafting materials, coins, and a chance at equipment every single day. So on Mondays, you want to be doing 4 runs of it. Your 3 payouts, and then your 1 battle support. And then the other 6 days, you'll be doing 1 a day for battle support, giving you 10 payouts a week. That can seem like a lot when you're at this level and there's 4 of them, making it 40 a week, but that's a whole lot better than the 2 a day, which would be 14 per 28, 56 a week. So we've come down from that, and each run is also guaranteed purple orange quality. Next, let's get into sky stones. Sky stones are a huge deal, and where I see a lot of people wasting them are in equipment enhancement. So if we take a look, all these equipments, every +3 gives you a bonus stat, but as you get past +9, they start failing at a huge rate. So really, you want to bring all these up to +3 whenever you feel like it. Once you start hitting those raids and getting raid equipment, +6 is totally fine. Once you have a really good piece and start enhancing it, +9 is a good stopping point until you get to the late game or have a piece that you know is going to stay around a long time. I'll also talk about runes in just a minute, but this is where I see a lot of people wasting their sky stones. Now, where do I get sky stones? Primarily, it's going to be from Battlefield. Battlefield, win or lose, is going to give you a bunch of sky stones. You can also use them as currency in the Battlefield shop, so they know themselves that that's primarily what they're trying to do. You can get sky stones when you do your AFK farming in the creature book, as well as they just added it to Lizardmen. We'll get to there in a second. And that's the primary way of getting sky stones. Last but not least would be expeditions can give you a good amount of sky stones. Next, let's get into Lizardmen, or also known as Exploration Captain. You get introduced to him early in Chapter 2 in the Teska region, but a lot of people burn through it as they're trying to get through the campaign. In each of the main cities, you will have a list of people right above my head. The first one on the list is Exploration Captain. Come talk to him, hit Explorer, and these are the things that he can go get for you. These are all resources that you yourself can go mine and or gather just fine from node to node to node. A lot of people don't like spending a lot of time on this, so what you can do is send squads out to go out and collect things. A really cool tip you can do is put powerful runes on them. If, like, let's say you want to do 2 greens like I'm currently doing, and you can put runes on the first 6, send them out, take off those runes, throw them on another 6, send them out, and they will complete it just as though they had those runes in the beginning. This is going to be very, very powerful when you're trying to do your professions. As I said in the last video, cooking and blacksmithing kind of go as they go. Processing is kind of required to get everything else going, and Alchemy 6 is really where you want to go to. I've been sitting on Alchemy 6 for a long time because I've been focusing on gathering for other things I want to work on, such as runes. Let's talk about the last two things I want to talk about. Both go hand in hand, and that's going to be in the rune section. There are two things I want to talk to you about with runes that are really going to set you above the rest that aren't doing this. Now, something with runes in this game is slot 2, slot 4, and slot 6 runes have special stats they can get, as you see: accuracy, resistance, defense, and these are percentages. Whereas one is always attack, 3 is always defense, and 5 is always HP. These are all flat numbers. Whereas 2, 4, and 6 can be percentages and other stats. Notably, slot 4 can have crit rate or crit damage as its primary stat. So when you are enhancing them, you want to be looking at slot 2, 4, and 6 a lot more harsh than slot 1, 3, and 5. The second thing I want to talk about is enhancing your runes. As you see, the one right here, they're all plus 15. That's not really advisable. Slot 2, 4, and 6 should be up to 15 because you're bringing up stats as you need. Whereas slot 1, 3, and 5, plus 12 is totally fine to give you most things. You're missing out on one roll on up to 4 target stats. If all the stats are really, really good, doesn't matter what it gets, that's totally fine. But on average, you are going to be replacing and getting new runes all the time, and you'll be wasting a lot of sky stones down the road if you're just bringing everything up to plus 15 just because. I recommend bringing things to plus 9 as a good stopping point until you decide it's an above average rune. Bring them up to plus 12, and if they're stellar 2, 4, 6, bring them up to plus 15. Now, something I'd like to touch on is something you may have been hearing in the community, that base 3-star monsters want flat stats over percentage stats. That is true and untrue. So if we take a look at a monster right here, that is a base 3-star, and that would be Konamiya. Now, when you bring these base 3 stars up, let me show you an example of a 3-star. So if we take a look at the one that they give you for free right off the bat, her base attack, defense, and HP are super, super low, which is why they get more out of these base flat numbers than other monsters. Something that isn't being looked at is the awakening. So if you only bring them up to Awaken 5 to get their awakening effect, then yes, they will almost entirely always be better as flat stats versus percentage stats. But if we take the one I was just showing you, Konamiya, and you bring them up to 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and you'll see the stats they end up being afterwards. These are base numbers right here, and all of those are above the break point that you would need to get more from percentage over flat. I really hope this helped you set apart from the players that don't know this information, and I really wish you well in the kingdom of Raheel. If you like this video, please think about leaving a like or subscribe, and until next time, guys.